Hi, guys, and welcome back to Photographer Life Check. I'm your host, Kissi, and today we have finally my first Chicago native guest, Maya Iman.
I'm so honored
Hi,
to be the first Chicago
Maya.
native.
I
That's actually
know, I'm so
crazy.
happy. I'm so happy. I really
Not many of
appreciate
us.
it's clear, I guess, that I've actually found some community out here in LA. Um, but I am very happy that I finally have my Chicago native in the building. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm talking just with my straight home. Like you are the home, not even my home girl.
But people don't even know I'm from Chicago. I don't think maybe I exuded enough, which is kind of crazy.
Girl.
I'm trying to
Meanwhile,
be
I
more.
can't shut up about it. I'm trying to shut up a little more.
Maybe we got to change faces. Like
Right?
I
We
just
need to
I need to
change.
I need to go more. I need to tap back in more. I'm like maybe I've just been in my own little bubble here too long.
Right. Okay, so I realized during our first launch week and everything that I did not introduce what Photography Life Check meant. It's just a thing I've been saying for probably over a year now that I did not consider explaining it, but it's just literally a life check. Like as a photographer, it could be your career, something exciting that's happening, a project you have, something that happened on set, or it could be personal life, like as you are, how you feeling right now. So,
Okay.
photographer life check. How about you, Maya? I was gonna call you Iman.
Oh my god. I'm okay with either or at this point because it's so many Mayas. So now I'm just entering
True.
myself as Maya Iman. It makes it easier. Um, but my life check, it's so it's so uncertain right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so uncertain. I'm going into a new path. I don't know what exactly is happening yet, but things are happening, things are brewing. It's
Mm-hmm.
so confusing because I try to have the most control, and I'm at this point now where I'm like, I have to let go of the control. Things are just going
That's
to
hard.
happen abundantly. And
Period.
I made the realization last year, I'm like, I have to start leaning more into God's direction and the
Mm-hmm.
redirection and not looking at everything as rejection, but as redirection. So right
Mm.
now, everything's been redirected. But I am happy to share because I'm making the announcement
Oh
soonish.
my God.
I have a new agent, so I am newly signed. I've been signed for
Congratulations.
2 weeks now. Thank you, and we're already getting the ball rolling. But it's crazy because this time last year I got drops from my previous agent, so I have a new
Mm.
agent this year.
Come on, look what a year can do. I be trying to remember that when I also feel like I'm getting rejection a lot or things just aren't going my way. Um, that with a little bit of time and a whole lot of grace, we might find ourselves in a better predicament.
Rejection and protection. I keep trying to
Come
remember
on.
those two because
Come
I
on.
I didn't realize how much I needed protection because I just think with us being from Chicago, we can just endure so much.
You
Um,
know, this might sound crazy, but I've literally been talking to my therapist and journaling a lot about wanting to slow down on enacting resiliency. Like may and it's not that I want to lose the skill. It's not that I don't think there is value in endurance. But maybe I shouldn't be enduring so long. Maybe I shouldn't be so quick to try and be resilient and instead ask for help and instead just fall out and cry if I really needed to, you feel me? So I really appreciate that reframe also in thinking about, oh, right now I don't need to be resilient and right now I need to be protected. Can somebody else do that? Can something else do that for me in this moment? That's really cool.
yeah, that's been me my whole life, literally, because I'm an only child raised by a single Black woman.
Really? Your only child?
I'm an only child. It
Oh
actually
wow.
shows, I think, the more I'm closer with people because they're like, "Oh my God, you're such an only child." I'm an only child. I was raised by a single Black mom. She's
Mm-hmm.
1 out of 9. So I feel like I
Ooh.
have multiple parents. Like all of her
Yeah.
sisters are like my extended moms. And yeah, like I wear that badge of honor so heavy that I just have to walk this path alone. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm now fully leaning into the help that is being constantly provided. Like it could be the smallest help, like me carrying my bag to set, or
Yeah.
unloading and like putting the backdrop on the C stands. Like I just be thinking I need to do it all by myself, but now I'm leaning more into just people helping. I can't do it
Yeah.
alone. So
You deserve. Come on. Yes.
thank you.
I'm
No,
glad you are doing that for yourself.
it's so hard. It's the constant reminder because I didn't realize as much as you can think it, you actually have to say it out loud to embody it. So now I'm really leaning more into affirmations and just
Mm.
constantly receiving the positive affirmations that I need, because my mind will immediately go into, I got it, I can do it by myself, or I'll go negative and just shut down. And I'm just like, no, I have people in my corner. It's okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
True. I saw like a TikTok once or something that was like, it was like one of them skit kind of guys. And he was like, once a black woman tell you don't worry about it, you're done. Like she not gonna fuck with you no more. She don't trust you no more because she
We're
had
going
to
to take care of
react to get
ourselves.
it done. Exactly. And I was like, damn, very much that. And I want more black women to not have to feel that way and also not be put in that position though. So yeah,
Yeah.
asking for help.
It's hard, but we're leaning into it. I'm now over 30, so I'm just
Mm-hmm.
really trying to like be. I'm just trying to think differently. I don't want to feel like I have to just constantly hustle, be resilient, be strong. I want to be soft for once. I'm so tired of being strong. But if I am trying to be strong, I want to be strong in the gym. But
Exactly. I want to
otherwise,
be physically strong.
yeah, and I'm happy I've let go of the mindset of what my body's supposed to look like, and now I'm just leaning into, I just want to see muscle definition. I just want to get
Come
tone. Like
on.
I don't even care what I look like at this point. I just want to get strong. And I think it's been
I
so
want to be strong.
helpful seeing so many women athletes and just seeing an array of different women look different in all different
Yeah, and
facets.
a lot of
Cause it's
different
just,
body types.
yeah, especially that commercial that launched that premiered for the Super Bowl, that literally made me so happy seeing all those different women athletes with all different body types.
Yeah, with
And
Sha'Carri
Dochi
and
was
Jordan and yeah,
and
I like
Dochi
that
was
one
the
too.
narrator, and I was just like, oh my god, I needed that because I don't have an athletic, like I never did sports. The most I did in high school was
Mm.
dance, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm just like, I just want to be strong. I just want to work out. I need it for my sense of therapy.
Yeah, I think it's something about over 30s, and I mean, I guess I've seen the late 20s like kind of start down this path too, but most of my friends are over 30 and a lot of us are definitely talking about just wanting to be strong in our bodies and a little less about what it actually looks like, but really wanting to feel that strength. And it seems like, hopefully that feels like a good direction to go in, I think, as a group of women and just
Yeah,
personal goals. So that makes me excited.
it's nice to revert back because I think being where we are and specifically Los Angeles, everyone wants a specific type of body, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's that's why I'm like, honestly, I need to go back to Chicago because I'm like, it's just so many beautiful diverse
Mm-hmm.
body types in Chicago, whereas here
Yeah.
everyone looks the same and it kind of gets a little too weird, and like everyone just wants the same type of blueprint, and I'm at that point where I'm like, I don't care what it looks like. I just want to be
Yeah.
strong. So,
Yeah. Come on. See you in another year where we both ripped. Just
and that's why I've been trying to be as consistent. Like I'm like, as long as I hit the gym 3 to 4 days a week, I will be fine. And my
yeah.
goal will be 5. But I'm like, let me start off slow. Like I saw a lot of people doing like the hard 75. I can't do that right
I
now.
tried it. I messed up once. I messed up around maybe like day 32 or something like that. But I finished the whole 75. Well, and to be fair, I did soft 75. I did not do hard. I was like, baby, that's too much. I don't
I
want to do
think
it.
yeah, we gotta give ourselves the grace to lean. fully into it. So I'm trying to prepare my body for next year's hard 75 so that
Yeah, I like
I
that.
can willingly not feel the urge to drink, or I can eat differently. I want to prepare my body, not just like throw it into, you
Yeah,
know, the hardness of it. And I'm just like, I'm not ready and I'm not trying to kill myself. So yeah.
exactly. I feel that. To speak a little bit about, you mentioned your home life earlier. I'm curious, did you grow up with cameras in the home, photographers in your family, or anything like that?
So it's so funny. No, I didn't. Everyone in my family is scared of a camera in our face. We're the most self-conscious group of women I've ever seen.
Oh,
And no, it's so weird how I'm a photographer, because I don't like taking pictures because I was around women who don't like taking pictures. But we always looked at it as a perfect way to document life as a time capsule. So my aunts, and I think my mom as well, have books of photos, but they're just so self-conscious, and I'm just inherently self-conscious of what, as well as a camera. But no one around me was carrying a camera constantly except me. I kept finding them in the home, like a lot of the houses I was staying at, like they would just like keep things from mobility, like just keep things for the sake of like momentum and mobility. But I
mm-hmm.
think I just found it because I was always being curious. Like I found a VHS camcorder. I found my aunt's like cool pics. Like I just kept
Yes.
finding cameras and I just kept taking them. And I was just like, "Can I have this?" And they were like, "Yeah, I didn't know that was there." So I just kept taking them, and I would take them to school, and I was taking pictures of friends, and I just really didn't look at it like this is my career, which is funny that it's my career
Yeah.
now.
I feel
But
like it took me a long time to even realize how to make it a career. So, when did that happen for you?
it's funny because I think the light bulb hit for me in college, because originally my background is fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal, even when I was little, I always said that I wanted to be a fashion designer, because I only had two other career choices before being a photographer. My first one was a basketball player, only because of loving basketball. I have no type of skill whatsoever.
Completely understandable. We all wanted to be basketball
It was
players after that.
it, it was like probably for like 2 years, and then I immediately went into being a fashion designer because of like Fat Project Runway. And also I had an
Valid.
obsession with magazines. So I was constantly collecting magazines and like envisioning my life unfold on a magazine editorial.
Mm,
And it was weird because I didn't realize how much the images impacted me, because I think for me it was always the clothes that were impacting me.
right.
So I go to school and I went to Columbia College. I was
Mm.
very, very heartbroken that I ended up going there, because my dream was to go to Parsons in New York. My dream was to always go to
Oh,
New York.
that makes sense.
My
Yeah.
my dream was to go to New York, and I did not do that. Stayed home, but I did the first year of the fashion design and fashion business marketing program at Columbia, and I I got really involved in working hard very quickly. I didn't like allow myself to have fun with college. I immediately worked like in high-end retail. I worked at Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Louis Vuitton. Like I was a workaholic, and I almost quit
Okay.
school. And my mom was like,
Dang.
"No, you're finishing school." But I realized I hated working in the fashion business side, and I didn't think that my love for fashion and design were correlating because of my my discovery of being a black woman. Like I knew I was always black, but I think I've dealt with a lot of racism as soon as I hit college and working in high-end retail.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that was my first big chunk of like racism. Like I got accused of
Yeah.
stealing when I was working at Bloomingdale's. I
Oh,
was exiled from working at Louis Vuitton because I was like, I don't know, it was just weird. Like I knew my blackness was there, but it became a threat, and it became harder for me to maintain my identity while working in fashion. So I said I
mm-hmm.
have to recalibrate. And then I discovered art direction. So
Mm-hmm.
then
Which
that's
I
when I
do
changed.
absolutely want to talk about today too.
Okay. And I like I changed my major to art direction. And it was like weird how I discovered it, because in my mind I was like, okay, so you can just make a career out of curating and just
Mm-hmm.
like ideating and just thinking and putting in those thoughts. I had no idea. I discovered it and I went down a deep dive because I was like, I just don't want to do fashion. And I ended up changing my major. And then that's how I ended up going into art direction. But my program specifically is in advertising art direction. So there's a difference.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, can you talk about that difference? Because I think I get asked that question a lot. And I've worked in like art departments on TV shows and then art directed at an agency and then art direct or creative direct on photo shoots, which
Yeah.
they feel like similar jobs, but they are very different. Can
Mhm.
you describe the ways you work as an art director?
My my way of working was actually different, but I had to learn to get traditional because of the program I was in. And it meant that I had to brainstorm and ideate, have brainstorms and ideations with my team, work with
Mm-hmm.
a copywriter, because it's very important to be an art director and then a copywriter, and you have like your team. You don't do everything by yourself, which was very nice.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of graphic design, which I did not know how to do at all. Like, I think, you know how to make a cool photo on, for
You
MySpace or
know?
something, but like I didn't know how to mock up, and I eventually had to learn through the program. So it was hard, but it was fun to like allow myself to wander about what to design, and then I have to make it into reality. So
Yeah.
I had to mock up my ideas, and I sometimes took it a step further. I started photographing my ideas for
Oh, is that
school.
how photography entered the chat?
Not yet, not yet. No, it's so
Okay.
funny. It's still not there yet. It really wasn't. I think it hit for me a little bit more harder once I graduated college. But for me,
Okay.
I was trying to be as traditional as an advertising person should look. So I went to conferences, I went to ad workshops. Like, I was really trying to be an advertising person, but I think
Yeah.
my spirit was yearning for creativity and not feeling confined into the box of what advertising is. Because advertising is so traditional, and I don't think people realize that it's truly like the Mad Men world. Like, you have to,
Yeah.
there's order, and I had to like be a junior art director, and then I was a mid, and like you have to like go through steps. But I think once I graduated and once I did my first advertising company internship right after college, like I didn't have time off from college. I went right into work.
Oh,
I was
nice.
luckily able to get an internship right after college, and I worked at an agency called FCB Global. And it was just like insane because I'm working at the top of the John Hancock building. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
they own 3 floors. Yeah.
A month ago, you
And
were just a student, and now you're working at the Giant. God.
yeah. And I was so, I was inspired, but I also felt it was weird. I was inspired, but I didn't think that what I was doing was enough to get the attention of people, because everyone's fighting to get a job after the program. So the
Yeah.
competition was so thick, and it was like kind of like hard for me because I was also the only Black girl in my program. There was
Mm-hmm.
another woman of color, but majority of everyone in the art direction program, because they had interns that were strategists, copywriters,
Right.
account directors, like, but I was the Black girl in the ad department, and it was very apparent that I was. So I stuck out like a sore thumb, and I think people saw me as like I was the unicorn, and I didn't, but I was too intimidated to be the unicorn.
Damn.
So I like think I like kind of went into a shell. Like, I didn't speak up enough. I didn't, it was kind of hard, but I didn't get a job afterwards, which was kind of soul crushing for me. But I took about a year to recalibrate, but I always had a job. One thing about me is I
Period.
always work. I always work. But during that time after the internship is where I finally was like, okay, I think I'm a photographer.
Okay, so where did this transition happen? Did you just like happenstance pick up a camera, or was it for work that you started and you were like, oh, I want to go down this path now?
No, my biggest, I always had a camera, but I kept pushing it off like a hobby. I just kept saying it was a
Okay.
hobby. I never wore photographer as a title or badge of honor. But as
Yeah.
soon as I got done with the program, I knew I needed to find something to separate my work from like I just really leaned into it as a hobby, but I was like, wait, I want to do this for my life's work now. And at the time I was working actually at the promontory
Oh shit.
in Chicago. I was working
Yeah.
there right after the internship. I was working there for about 2 years, but during that time I was working. I lived in Hyde Park. I was partying, but I just was like, I gotta find a sense of purpose. So I
Hmm.
picked up my camera again because I kept noticing that there was like a wave of women photographers happening, and then this is at the time where people discovered the term girl gaze. And
Mm.
I was like, okay, what does this mean? So I started being a student again, and I didn't realize at the time, but majority of my favorite photographers, especially in fashion brands and like within the fashion magazines, were all men. So I took the time to do the research and understand who these men were, how did they get to be a photographer. And yeah, I was like, oh, there aren't a lot of women that are being pioneered into the photography space.
Yeah.
So when
Especially in fashion.
yeah, so I think when the girl gaze movement kind of was happening, it wasn't like new, but I think the world was finally paying attention.
Yeah.
So, and this was also during the beginning of the Me Too movement,
Mm-hmm.
like right when it started. And I was like, I was also going through a headspace of how can I find my voice, but also lean into what is happening in the industry. So it's
Okay.
like me being an artist, but also leaning into what I'm looking around me because that's where my headspace was going in the photography and then the
Yeah.
advertising world. So that's when I created the series Flawed, and I showcased it in Chicago at the AMFM gallery. And that was my
Yeah.
first
Shout
art
out to
show.
AMFM.
Yes, no, Sierra took a chance on me because she was like, everyone knew I was a photographer, but I had no idea what I was doing. I just kept
That's
posting on Instagram.
that's so real. I feel like it's just natural, a part of the stages of becoming an artist in general, for real. I was about to say photographer, but there's always the era where you're like, girl, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making it up as I go.
I didn't. And I think I was also really inspired because I also have to remember outside of like going from advertising to working at a restaurant, the partner I had at the time, he's a painter, and I
Mhm.
became more engulfed with wanting to be around artists because he worked for a painter, he's a painter, so art was just around me, and I was like, how can I be an artist like this?
Yeah.
So he was a big part of as well my journey, as just telling me to like think about my process because I was also photographing subjects for his paintings.
Mm.
And I think it became fun, but it also just felt like I was just collaborating with people around me. But then
Yeah.
that's when I
That makes
said, I'm
sense.
going to take pictures of women who I know who you don't typically see in photographs and make them feel beautiful, but also have dialogue and conversation with them before I photograph them just to get them into the headspace. And I recorded each conversation, and it became very beautifully emotionally like tethered to me, and I was like, okay, this is something I could see myself doing. And I like came to my gallery show and I had people there supporting me. My family was there. My mom had no idea what I was doing with these photos. She was just like, why are there naked women on the walls? But she was like, Maya, you're an artist. I was like, I guess I
Oh,
am. So
yes.
that was kind of like the birth of it, but I didn't take it seriously until I saw people come to support me and allow me to tell stories with photos. Like I didn't realize that I can do that. I think I was just doing it for a hobby for so long that I didn't take it seriously. And then after that, I then was like, damn, I should have majored in photography. Especially finding out that Dawood Bey was one of the professors at Columbia. And I'm just like, I missed out on that opportunity so bad.
Damn. Yeah, I completely missed out on that too. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
So we have art director Maya. We have photographer Maya. I know also we have production designer Maya. Where
Oh
did
yeah.
she get birthed in all of this?
So she got birthed into this, actually, which is funny. It started in Chicago for a second. It started in Chicago because I think me being an artist and being an art director, people always allowed me to curate things, and like I have a specific project I worked on that I never saw, and it was directed by Brianna Clearly, and it was the first set I've
Oh.
ever been on where everyone was a Black woman. The DP, the cast, producers, like I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like
Yeah.
everyone was a Black woman. And I remember we were shooting in Cinespace, and this was at the time I think of like Empire and stuff, and people were like, oh my God, I've never seen this many Black women on one set. We all were Black women, and I was the art director slash production designer, but I didn't know what I was doing. She just asked me to fill up the walls of a art gallery scene with different
Okay.
photos or paintings, and I did that. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then during my time of researching it, that's when I discovered Hannah Bleeker. And she's like a world renowned production designer. And she's a Black woman. She does production design for
Okay.
Beyonce.
Come on,
She
Hannah.
collaborates heavily with Ryan Coogler, and she did Creed. She did Black Panther. And I was just like, oh, I can do this. Like, it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So production design Maya got birthed in Chicago, and then I did it a little bit here just because I became a freelancer out here. I became a full-time freelancer living in California, but I think I stopped as soon as I entered the music video world.
Mm.
That was very
I
taxing.
I can imagine that. That's so
Yeah,
crazy.
it was very taxing, but also the beauty of that is that I think I helped people around me discover production design. So
Mm.
I almost like passed the torch in a
That
way,
torch
even
a
though
bit,
I don't think
yeah.
I was that great at it. I helped people like that never thought of production design become production designers.
Mm.
And my partner, Dan, does production design. My friend Jack Taylor does production design now. And I just like, I leaned into people who I knew can do it because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just,
Right.
I knew I was like, let me just be a photographer and a director. I was doing production design and working with directors that were either novice or had a lot of ego. And I didn't like that.
Mm.
And I was like,
And
I want to be the director that's collaborative and
yeah.
opens the space and not creating this weird ego. And yeah, I just
Okay,
was like,
wait,
I
but
don't
what
want to do
happened with
it.
that project? Is it one of the ones that like, oh, this just never came out or what?
She showed it, I believe, in Chicago, but this is when I moved here, so I didn't get to see the film. I honestly probably should hit
Oh,
her up and be
okay.
like, "Can I see it?"
Right, send the
But
link.
yeah, like I just never saw it, and there's been a lot of things I've worked on that probably have never seen the light of day. But
Yeah.
I I loved, I still will do production design naturally, just being a art director and being a
Yeah.
curator of spaces. But I knew I just was like, as soon as I moved here fully, I was like, I moved here for a purpose to be a visual storyteller, and I wanted to just follow the bucket of being a director and a photographer, and that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you did just that. I want to pull up your website and let folks who may not know your work see it a bit. I think your website is absolutely stunning. And
Thank
is a
you. A
great
Black woman
example.
designed it.
Period. And also to that point, I love that you had that moment where you were like, "Oh, everybody on set is a Black woman," especially at Cinespace, because when I first got into like being on real sets, most of them were completely Black or completely Black women or completely women, and maybe one white woman, but everybody else is a woman of color or a Black woman.
Yeah.
And so that was my norm. And then at a couple things on Cinespace, it was like way more white men and things like that. But I feel like even departments that I worked in, majority women of color, that I'm like,
Same.
damn, I feel so lucky because I'm getting horror stories, but I'm like, I
No,
feel like I'm in the middle of a revolution right now. Or a
no, same,
renaissance,
because
I mean, a renaissance.
I didn't. I knew that film is a male dominant space, but I didn't get
Yeah.
it until I was fully here.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I moved to
That makes sense.
California, I was like, okay, I'm a unicorn again, or I'm just like once again the
Yeah.
one out of. And the thing is, I'm such a student. As much as like people want me to mentor them or talk to them and have dialogue with them, I'm still a student, and I still to this day will reach out to people who I love and admire, and I'll be like, can I shadow and assist you? Because that's what I did when I moved here. I started shadowing and assisting production designers, and that's how I got involved in it. And how I got to meet those production designers is one time I applied to be an extra for a music video directed by Child.
Okay.
And then that's how I met her production designer. And then me and her connected. I got her email from the call sheet, and I just reached out. Like, I'm not afraid to hold my tongue. So I think that's the biggest thing that it taught me about being here, is that a closed mouth ain't gonna get fed. And then I didn't know anybody when I moved out here. So I was just like, I gotta figure it out.
Exactly. Got to find my people somehow. Which I love that, because
Exactly.
you a Leo, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's the energy of the Leo. Like, we all need
It's
to
a
get into
Leo
harness
energy.
that.
And that's why I'm like, I'm so happy for Doechii, because when I saw her videos come out about how she got fired and how she about to just go to different, that's literally what I did. And I'm like, she a Leo too. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I'm also a rising Virgo, so the control is there as well.
That's
so
how
that's
you
my
keep
problem.
that job. Because a Virgo ain't gonna let up. I love it.
Leo, rising Virgo, but here's my downfall. I'm a Scorpio moon.
The shade. I'm a Scorpio moon.
No, it's the great no, and some of my favorite people are Scorpio moon. I love Scorpio energy, but girl,
I love
I'd be
Scorpio
going
energy.
through it.
No,
I'd be going
a
through it.
Scorpio moon is chaos. And I'm a double Aquarius. I'm a Aquarius sun.
You have
rising.
I was about to say you have so much water. That's not water, but you know what I mean. That's just a lot of clashing.
Yeah, the air and the water just be like, I don't give a fuck. I care so much.
That's me with my fire and my water. Like, girl, they just. Because I'm truly a fire sign. I'm a true fire sign, but then when I'm sad or when I feel rejected or feel I be feeling like the underdog. So that's why it's so funny that I like receive flowers and praise for my work when I'm like, I feel like I'm an underdog in the industry. Like, no people know of me, but like don't really like it's kind of weird. Like, it's a weird industry to navigate right now, but I still feel very fortunate that I'm able to do what I do. Yeah. And not feel like what I'm doing is not enough. It's just right now I'm being protected because something greater is coming.
Go. Come on, we being protected right now. But we can get into that a little more too, especially considering this transition from Chicago to LA. And I want to get into like the work that you've created here. So I'll start sharing your website right now.
Website, which I keep forgetting to like update, but it's currently fully updated. I do need to just spend some time on it and just sit with it.
You have incredible work here, girl.
Thank you.
Which actually, speaking of this, we're talking about transitions a lot. We started off the conversation talking about transitions. Can you tell us, because at least me being a consumer of your work, I've noticed you've transitioned into a lot more commercial or editorial work within the last couple years, or at least that you've made public on your own site.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us about how that transition is going, how you have been managing that, how you even do that?
So I think that's been the most interesting part about my journey, is that I never thought I would be a commercial photographer because I just didn't know what that looked like. So if you do seem like at the bottom of my work, it is more photojournalism. I kind of was just being a little bit more intimate with the work, and I still try to do the same thing.
Sorry to cut
That
you
was a
off.
part of Flawed.
That's what I thought. I don't remember if I pulled up to the gallery or not, but I do remember this era of photos by you.
Yeah, so that actually wasn't in the gallery, but as soon as I put up the gallery, more people wanted me to continue shooting them like that. So I just kind of continued the series.
Okay.
But the way commercial photographer came to me is that because I was an art director in Chicago, I kept seeing. So being an art director, you're kind of the middle person. So working as the art director for the agency, I was the middle person between client and production. So I'm also there seeing how much they make as far as revenue as the art director. And I'm also pitching the directors, the photographers. I saw those things and I'm like, Maya, you're talented like the people you're pitching.
Okay.
You should lean into your craft as much as you can, but also still be the advocate. So as much as I am an artist, I'm also a strong advocate for pitching people into jobs. So that's why producing kind of came into my life as well this past year. But I moved here, kept making my own work because also I moved here in the pandemic. I don't remember when you moved here, love, but like I moved here November 2019. And I got let go from my job because of the pandemic, and then I just kept doing test shoots. So the photos that I did of D Smoke, those were things that I pitched to him and his team to do, and I brought together an entire production for him. Same thing happened with who else did I do pitches for? It was just so many different projects I was pitching. So I like had ideas, I sent them out, but then I was like, wait, I could be getting paid for this. And I think also after I did those pitches, some people in the LA scene saw my work. So the biggest highlight of my pivot from photojournalism to commercial was my work being showed on Insecure.
Yes, which I do remember. It was so beautiful. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that was the craziest alignment because specifically the biggest reason why I moved out here was Issa Rae, was Kendrick Lamar, and for my work to be highlighted on her platform was just like something I just never saw coming. They contacted me, but I just was like, okay. The production designer contacted me, and I was just like in my mind, like, okay, this is amazing, but I don't know if my photos are ever going to be seen. Because being a production designer means you're dressing multiple scenes, but the camera may never see it.
Exactly.
So I remember, I think I was coming home from set, or I was working at a restaurant because I still bills got to get paid. So I got a message, and my friend was like, Maya, I just saw your photos on Insecure, and I was like, what? Like, I knew they was gonna show up at some point in the new season, but I had no idea it was gonna be when. They didn't give me no warning. So I run home because you remember Insecure was every Sunday. So I run home to see it, and then when I saw my photos there and my name was right there in the corner, I literally started crying. I think it's on there. Oh yeah. So when so when it was right there, I literally was just spazzing. I was just like, what is happening? I had so many emails, people just like reaching out and say, I saw your work on Insecure. You're so talented. Keep going. And mind you, those are all of my photos that I just made out of just my own, like me just being an artist. So none of those are commercial photos. And I think after that, then agencies started saying, okay, who is this person? So then I kept getting approached by different agents, producers. I started getting a ton of emails, and I didn't know what to do with all this because I'd never, I just didn't know. I didn't have like anyone to lean on to or help me understand how to pivot from this momentum moment in my career.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I learned to navigate it. But as soon as I had my work feature on that show, I got signed. And I think it was also a big impact from Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd impact. A lot of Black artists that I know who are signed are no longer signed because a lot of these agencies don't know how to rep us in the best way because there's just a weird issue with like learning to pivot and sell our work and the value in our work. And I think it's so confusing because you see a lot of white photographers who capture a lot of Black artists or Black people, and they pivot and they just get all this different work, but it wasn't the same. And I even told the agent at the time that I want to be able to see my work in different places, not just capturing us, but I want my work in different places. I didn't want to, I was open to being as big as I possibly could be because I just didn't know. Like, I knew that once my work was on that show, sky was the limit. So I was just kind of just keeping myself open minded.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I think I still am, but the scary part about it is that there was just no way on how you can navigate, sending your work out to different people. You have to introduce yourself to a lot of new producers, photo editors. It's a lot of networking. And I don't think a lot of people explain what being signed and being a commercial photographer means. Just because you have an agent and just because you probably have a following, that does not mean you are immediately going to always get work. Because like, even for example, last year, I would say it's been that was the slowest year for me since I moved here, and I've been here 5 years.
I see.
But that means that I had to repivot. I needed to reconnect and meet new people, meet new producers, photo editors, introduce myself to a new wide range of people. And I also think the biggest thing outside of Insecure that's helped my career is the right talent that I've worked with. So I would say, like, working with, for example, Coleman Domingo has been the most life-changing experience for me because...
Can you talk more about it? Are you like his personal photographer?
So no, and it's funny because everyone has kind of put that like title to me now. It's like I kind of wear it like a little bit now as like I'm his personal, but I'm not actually. Like, I met him through his stylist, who I'm very good close friends with, and I shot him 5 years ago for the Oscars, and that was my first time ever shooting talent going to an awards show. Like, I don't think people really understand how crazy it is because you only get to shoot them for 5 minutes and then they got to run out the door.
Yeah, you have no time.
You have no time, and you got to set up a backdrop. You got to get lights, like, and they're also trying to meet and connect and talk to people, get them comfortable. But he was the most easiest and the most nicest person to work with. Yeah. And it became almost a thing repeatedly. Like, I remember the first time I shot him was at a hotel, and the next time I shot him at his home. And it became like, it was like clockwork, because award season is always going to be from January till like May, because we'll count the Met Gala as well. And it was just, it's a rush. Like, you have to do everything quick. You got to meet people, and then you got to also capture this content for fashion brands, for the stylists, for the hair and makeup team. Like, it's a lot of responsibility, but it can be really fun, but also very stressful. It just depends. But I think working with him has been eye-opening because I'm not as personal, but like, whenever he has something, he's always pitched me. He's always said, he names me and a few other photographers, and luckily, like, all of us who are his regular shooters, we know each other, and we're just like, we say how much we love him.
Yes.
So I get very excited that I've been able to be in his life for this long, and he's introduced me to so many people. He's poured into me, and I just can't thank him enough, because he's like family at this point, and I didn't realize that someone to this caliber would feel like my family at this point. And yeah, that's how I became more in love and fell more in love with the film industry, is because of him. And there's not a lot of actors that are like that, to be honest. He's truly rare.
It feels like it, and obviously coming from a different perspective, like, I don't know him at all. And so it's hard to gauge sometimes if actors are acting or if they're being really genuine in a moment in the interview, stuff like that. But he does feel like a really genuine kind of person. So on one level, it was really cool to see that you guys are working together so much, because I'm like, hey, like, this is so beautiful. Like, of course. And then to get it reconfirmed, it's like, this is like a dream. And then it created more pathways for you. So that's so tight.
Yeah, like I've met so many people through him and just people he works with, but it's been a really interesting blending like of the manifestation because I didn't
Mm.
expect him, but out of working with him, it wasn't like, oh, I planned to work with Ava DuVernay. It happened, but it was like in my forethought, like I wanted this.
Yeah.
I photographed her. I photographed Barry Jenkins, and I actually found out about Coleman through Barry Jenkins' work through If Bill Street Can Talk. He was always
Mm.
acting in so many films, but If Bill Street Can Talk, I paid attention to him more, and I was just like, who is this
Yeah.
man? And I just fell more and more in love with not only his work but who he is. Like he's literally like, you know how it was when you first saw like Denzel or something, like that's how it is when
Yeah.
people see and feel. Like he gives me the perfect blend of like when you see Denzel or Sidney Poitier. Like he's really like truly that iconic.
It's probably literally a blend of them too that I would also be like, yeah, they feel like they had a baby and it's Coleman Domingo. Like,
Yeah, literally. And then for him to receive his flowers this way at this age, because
I
people don't know, like
know.
he's older, he's seasoned, and he's also like he's in his bag. Like that's
Yeah,
how
he's
I
deep in
see
his bag
myself.
right now.
Yeah, and I think me working with him was very Kendrick because I for the longest time always was like, I'm not gonna be good or I'm not gonna make it because I didn't pop as a photographer at a younger age.
At like
You
19, yeah.
yeah, like you see Tyler Mitchell, you see Kennedy Carter, and they're just so
Yeah.
talented, but they're
So
younger. And I
young.
think, okay, what was wrong with me that I didn't receive like what I received? And I think I knew a while ago that I was like, I'm just gonna be one of those people that I'm gonna receive my flowers
Hmm.
when I'm older, like Coleman, and I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I feel
I
like
mean,
it's a difference. Like he wears it so much more gracefully. Like I feel like it is maybe more overwhelming to receive flowers and attention when you're younger, but when you're
mm.
older like that, like it just it, it just is. It's a beautiful like grace and swag he carries about it.
I also appreciate just having the examples of what it's like to receive your flowers at these different stages in your life. I feel like culturally in any industry, we kind of like fawn over the young protege, like the young
Mm-hmm.
savant, like, oh my God, how did they manage to do this thing at 17, at 19, at 22? Um, and it's beautiful and it's no discredit to them, but it's really good to have examples of people finally, and I'm putting air quotes on finally because this isn't their first time getting their flowers either. Like they've been working
No.
their whole
Mm-hmm.
life. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
because we all learned about Coleman Domingo around a certain time doesn't mean like at some point in other people's trajectory, we're late. And
We
that's
are like
cool.
he's been working in the industry for over 3 decades.
Right.
We're
So,
so
you know,
late. Like he was
but
in
it's
a
cool.
in Birth of a Nation. Like, and I think
Right.
when
And
I
we
saw
we
these
didn't
films,
know
like I
that.
saw him, but like he became the first on the call sheet last year. Like, and it takes
Right.
such a long time. And I'm okay with that because I just think like for me now, I'm like, okay, I've been shooting for 10 years, but I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm really just getting started.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you're OG, you're a vet. I'm like, I'm really not. Like I'm still figuring it out, and
Yeah.
I just want to forever be a student to the industry because it's changing so much. Like no one could have predicted what we went through the pandemic, but the fact that we've been
Exactly.
able to stay in Los Angeles, pivot,
For
and
5 years.
maintain. But also, Chrissy, do you realize we have been through so much? We've been through the pandemic. We've been through strikes. We've been through an election year, and now we've been dealing with the fires. Like it's just,
It's
I don't know what I
too
can't do, but I'm tired.
much. I was literally like after the fires, that was my main thing I was saying. I'm like, I'm ready to retire, actually. Like I don't want to deal with any more catastrophe. I'm done. I've
Mhm.
had enough. Thank you so much. Bye.
I was already thinking about fleeing the country like 2 years
Girl,
ago.
me too.
I'm like, can I get out? But I mean, I feel like it's interesting. So it's like because right now I'm in this headspace where I'm like, okay, I've been here 5 years, and this is my time where I, in my mind, was like, I'm ready to move forward. I don't know where that is yet, but I'm going to allow it to come, and I will receive. I just don't know. I still think I will be here, but you don't have to live here.
Exactly. We
But
know so
that's
many
also,
artists that don't.
yeah.
Really
But also that ties into our story of the fact that we had to leave Chicago in order to pivot.
Yeah.
So
Before going down that route, thinking about like this idea of like popping when you're older. I know Ava talks about that a lot because I think she didn't start until she was in her 40s, was it?
yeah, because she was a publicist and she did
Right.
not start until she was in her 40s. Because I think
So
her and
thinking
Coleman are around
about,
the same age, yeah.
okay. So thinking about like that idea, and then also the fact that you've shot people like Ava, Barry, Michelle Obama, how how do you manage shooting people you already look up to? Because I think I'm curious about if there is a different energy once you know the person already, like especially somebody like Ava, where it's like
Mm.
I am a huge fan of her work and I am about to photograph her. Gagged. Like what? How do you manage
It's
this?
it's so funny because it becomes easier the more you do it, I guess. But like, I don't think it's funny because I used to be really starstruck, and now I'm just like, especially being in intimate spaces where Coleman has allowed me to be around him and his friends. Like, he's introduced me to, I was like, this man just introduced me to Lenny Kravitz. Like, I just like what? Like, but shooting Barry actually was my first time I was really nervous because it was like one of my first big editorials. And I just like, because Moonlight is literally the blueprint for me.
Oh my God.
And I was so nervous and I had such little time because he was also in the middle of doing press for the Underground Railroad.
Mm.
And I think you have to remember that there's a lot of preparation into what you do. So I try to now become over prepared so that when I'm in the moment, I can pivot into different places or something like that. I also try to come with a sense of understanding and research of what I'm doing. I can't just go into it like, oh, let's just shoot, I try to like come with a sense of understanding on what the purpose is. And I feel like the first time when I shot Barry, it was actually my hardest thing to manage because it was for editorial from overseas and it was the middle of COVID, so everything was like tight teamed and stuff. And also I
Yeah.
just didn't know how to tell my friends who I still work with how to like help me with the right lighting, with the right look and feel. I was also working with a high profile stylist. Like, everyone was looking at me to be like the leader, and
Directing the set. Yeah.
I was still learning. So now I'm like, dang, if I could redo that, I would redo it all over again. But I think it was funny going from Barry's to Ava. I had a real sense of what I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was asked to shoot her, but I was given the space to creative direct the idea. And I specifically knew and did the research on the origin film and who she was making this film about. So I wanted Ava to be embodied into the look and feel. So that's why with all the photos, I wanted it to be about coming into the light and hiding behind the shadows, because that's the idea of the caste system. And I was
Which
very
that was an
intentional about,
incredible movie.
yeah, like it was very intentional. And I think that was that was the point. Like, I wanted it to be the colors and the look and feel. Like, they specifically were like, what do you want to do? So I said, this is how I wanted to frame it. And this wasn't even supposed to be the cover shoot. This was just supposed to be editorial, but the team loved the images so much. They were like,
Period.
okay, we're putting this as the cover. And then
Period.
they upped the pay. And also there was no budget. But there was no budget. So the budget was literally nothing. And then when they gave up the budget, I was like, okay, I'm splitting the money fairly with the rest of the people who helped me,
That's
because
beautiful.
I had my friend produce it. I had my other homies help light, assist, do production design. Like I had a team of about, like, I think it was like 6 of us, and I was just so happy and excited. And I think I couldn't have done that alone. So I was like, why would I
Yeah.
just pocket this money? I'm just going to split this fairly with my team. And also that at that point made me realize, like, I can't do this alone, and I have to learn how to manage what I want to do better. A lot of artists, it's so hard for them to communicate to their team what they're looking to do.
Yeah.
Um,
I think,
and I
can we
just,
talk a little bit more about the money? Like, I
mm,
always hear there's no money in fashion photography and editorial. You do it for the connections and then you get breaded elsewhere.
mm,
But people kind of hide how that is, what that is. For the photographers that are just like starting out in this situation, really wanting to do editorial, what is the game plan? Because not everybody will get so lucky that like you prepared so much that they were like, oh, wait, this is actually the cover shot. Now we have
mm.
a budget for you. What do you have a strategy? Do you have any tips to get photographers to find their bag if they want to go editorial route?
So, and that's the thing. The editorial world is going to be the long game.
Mm,
Editorial is it editorial is journalism, and it's slowly becoming less profitable, but it's always but it varies on who's the artist. So I think the more high profile the photographer is, the more money they're banking. But I think people need to realize that
mm,
it's a ripple effect. Editorial is always about exposure, but exposure is important because that's how you're going to get the brand photos, the brand photography. So
yeah.
like, I think people forget that. I'll use Tyler Mitchell, for example. He was
Mhm,
able to pivot because of the fact that, okay, he's in the world of Vogue. So then through that pivoting of his work, he was able to do fashion campaign shoots. That's money.
mhm.
That's not the same as shooting for a publication, but when the brand comes to you and they're like, okay, we're going to use your photos on all mediums, meaning social, out of home, print, they're doing a buyout. That's where the money is. So whenever there's a company coming to you for a buyout, that's where the money comes. But you are able to get the attention of people based off of the editorial work. So everything that I do as far as like editorial or press coverage, because press and publicity are very similar,
Mhm.
but it's not a lot of money being driven, and a lot of people really do care and still like kind of think that, oh, you'll do it for no money because it's a celebrity,
Yeah.
you know. But you sometimes take those opportunities to pivot into a bigger situation. So
Yeah.
I think people need to learn that, as much as, yeah, like if you love doing portraiture, you're able to pivot into different industries. Like I never thought I would ever do car photography, and
Yeah.
I've worked with Nissan, Infinity, Audi, Hyundai. Those were my biggest projects, and I
Mhm.
made the most out of working with those brands. And then you'll make a lot maybe doing work with alcohol or food brands, like,
Yeah.
but there'll be a talent involved. But I think editorial, I'm always going to love editorial, but editorial is the stepping stone.
That's a good way
Commercial
to
is the
describe it.
bag. Like
Yeah.
you have editorial and you have commercial, but you don't get the commercial without the editorial push. So that's why editorials are so important for the work that artists are doing. But when you do the work for like airlines, for fashion campaigns, where you're doing anything that's on a billboard, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
And whenever there's a buyout, then that's what you shoot for. And I don't think a lot of people shoot for those enough because they don't know the ins and outs. Reach out to producers, ask for a portfolio review, or just sit down and have coffee. Like you have to network across, or like find people to connect with. And as much as people try to think that they can pivot and make a lot of money in editorial, it just takes a long time.
Mm.
It takes a long time.
Girl, I feel like we need to already schedule a whole nother episode so we can talk about the ins and outs of contracts and really how to get your bag when it comes to this commercial
Yeah,
photography.
no, I think, because look, I don't think being signed is for everybody, but you have to be able to communicate that. And I think
Yeah.
because I've learned now to be a producer, I try to have those ins and outs. And I'm honestly a producer. I produce now as much as I shoot because I really wanted to be able to communicate to artists what they need, and also be transparent with them about budget, because I just don't think a lot of them are transparent enough, and they'll
Yeah.
kind of tiptoe around the conversations that are needed to be had, and then there's things that are lost in translation.
Everybody's scared to talk about the budget. I'm sick
It's
of
the
it.
budget, and then also my biggest issues is like when people hire photographers for film, like for unit stills
Mm-hmm.
or like for commercial shoots, they look at us as like, okay, you got 5 minutes, do what you need to do. Why can't
No,
I have
for
the same time as the
real.
director? I have
Okay.
to light, and like, I was like, y'all gave me a nice budget. I brought in a lighting team. I have a Digitech. Like, I brought my things, but you're not giving me
The
my
time
time
to
to do my
do it.
job. And I
Yeah.
think they think because photographers are, we just be, they don't give the same grace and the time to photographers like they do with directors. And that's why I am very serious about pivoting into directing, so I can be able to find that happy medium. And I think a lot of photographers should pivot into directing as well, because
Mm.
we wouldn't have film without photos. Like,
Come on.
stills is like, I don't think people realize that. Like, they're one and the same, but I think the conversations and the crafts are totally different. And I see people who are doing amazingly in New York as photographers, but it's not the same here. Film is the like, this is a film city. And I
Yeah.
don't think that a lot of people have the conversations on how you can be able to balance both. So that's what I'm trying to do, is find a way to pivot and balance how I can do both. And it's not a lot of us
Mm-hmm.
that are doing it. There's like a
That girl.
handful of women that I see that are balancing it. So
Mm. I would love to get some names from you too. Um, but we got to pivot to our next
specific,
segment. Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
will say specifically, one of my favorite photographers and directors, Adrienne Raquel.
Oh, well, yes. That girl.
She's she's doing it perfectly and seamlessly. And I think, because I remember the first time I worked with her, I was working with her lighting team, and I was just there just to assist him.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing her do a commercial, she did the commercial for Nike and was shooting. I've never seen a more seamless
Oh,
process, because she had the entire day and there was no, okay, flying the photographer, flying the director. Like, she was
yeah.
both. So it was just the perfect seamless like day. And I don't see a
Mm.
lot of people hiring a photographer and a director that do both. So that's why I was like, okay,
Interesting.
that's the
Okay.
that's the ideal set. And Joshua
Yeah.
Kissi, like my brother is like one of the most
Love
talented
Joshua.
directors and photographers,
Yes.
and he's passed so many opportunities to me. So like, those are the two people I immediately think of, because
Mm.
they do photography and they do film so perfectly.
I'm gonna definitely do a deeper dive on Adrienne. I feel like I'm more familiar with her photography than directing, but now I'm
Yeah,
very
and
curious.
Renell Medrano.
Oh yes, Renell. I
Yeah,
mean, the
Renell and
girls.
Adrienne are,
Adrienne and
yeah.
Renell are the girls.
Yeah, I immediately tell people, I'm like, look at Adrienne, look at Renell, and then when you think of men, look at Joshua Kissi and look at Tyler Mitchell. Like, I'm immediately gonna
Yeah.
always say those names. Yeah,
And for that, happy Black History Month, period.
listen,
Okay, the gear don't matter, but is our next segment. I started this segment because everybody always talks to photographer about what camera they're using. Um, and it does not matter, because if it did, everybody using the same camera would be making the same image, and we don't. So I also want to give a shout out though to the gear that we do use and we love. So can you please tell us a favorite piece of equipment that you use that doesn't have to be a camera? It can, but it doesn't have to.
I would. I'm leaning to lighting. Lighting is so important. And I think because I have to be more mobile now, I'm going to immediately shout out Profoto.
Period.
I wasn't trying to even go in the Profoto realm because listen, it's a bag, but it's really worth it to me.
It is.
Um
You experience. Oh my goodness. It's just way too functional. It's perfect.
it's literally the Apple product for the lighting world.
Literally, that's such a good example.
It's literally that, like, because there are moments when it's like, okay, if I don't have a solid budget to shoot press, like for example, there's a difference on what I had because I shot Coleman 2 days this past weekend, for example, but the most recent day I couldn't bring my friend to help light it. Like I have to do it myself. So I have my Clit softbox, my A10 Profoto, put it on a mono stand, and I'm holding it while I'm shooting at the same time. And it's just like it's so needed because I think as much as like you like natural light, you like it to look as clean, like you can make the most natural light with strobes, and you have to learn, like with strobe, with continuous, like I'm specifically going to shout out Trokon and Domo because they're literally like my lighting.
Truly, shout out to Trokon and Domo.
Like I would not know how to use lighting if it wasn't for them. And they are like the best teachers ever. And they've poured so much into our photography community.
Yeah, they have.
So like I think if it wasn't for them two, I wouldn't know anything about lighting. I would still probably be shooting natural and just trying to figure it out.
Right.
Like I was like, what am I doing? Like, but like they're literally the best. And they're magicians, literally. So.
Beautiful.
Like, do I just name everybody? But I mean, I'm not a gatekeeper. Exactly. Trokon, Domo, they're the best. If you need lighting, if you need DPing, if you need a shooter, because Trokon is a shooter too. Like, yeah.
And shout out to Profoto too, sponsor the pod. Thank you. And here's our next segment called Shoot Your Shot. And I just want to like create the dreamscape. Who is somebody, like an artist or whoever, or a company you would love to photograph or work for?
I'm just gonna go immediately with my first mind. Rihanna / Savage Fenty.
Yes.
I think it would be so fun to work with them because also like it would be nice for me to return back to this way how I was photographing, like more intimately. Like
I can already see it.
Like I just want to shoot in the girls' bedrooms, of them and their outfit, because like that's just where I started, and I think I didn't realize how confidently and beautifully like they capture the women, and I think like Rihanna just does it seamlessly, and like I was already like, look, I'm manifesting brands like that to do work that are just really big about inclusivity and diversity, because
especially
DEI is a threat,
right now that everything
DEI is the threat, so yeah.
I think it's even more important to be focused on the brands that are not letting up and was their mission from the jump. And Rihanna changed multiple industries in dropping Savage. I feel like it impacted the culture so very deeply and changed the way people shot, intimate wear,
even how she captures beauty. Like I never thought I would want to work in beauty and hair, and I'm just like, it's so beautiful. And honestly, like even like I don't know, a lot of people don't even remember she did the brand with LVMH. Like it was just her Fenty clothing, and I was like, I was obsessed because she specifically had Renell shoot the lookbooks.
And those images were the first images that I saw that had me curious about fashion. I never wanted to do fashion before. I appreciate a lot of fashion photography, but I was just like, okay, this is tight, just not my path. And it was in particular a shot of some sunglasses that I was like, I want to take this shot. Like, I'm sad that I wasn't the person that took this. Completely inspired me. Like,
it
I
was
already see it for
so
you.
it was so intentional because Renell is very, I think outside of Renell being such a great photographer, she cast the most beautiful, authentic New York woman.
Mm.
And you can tell because she uses a lot of like the same girls and campaigns, and it just feels so, it literally feels like New York. Like I'm just like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can look at each image and I'm like, okay, this is shot probably in this neighborhood, or like it just feels so good. And it doesn't even feel like it's a campaign. It just can feel like she just is shooting a girl like
Yeah.
at a, on a bench or in an elevator.
But it looks so beautiful. Like
Literally looks like a unit still, like, but with
literally.
film. So yeah.
So incredible. Well, beautiful. To wrap up our conversation for today, I want to do a little photographer fit check. One of my big dreams for the
I'm like,
podcast is wait, don't worry, don't worry. One of my dreams for the podcast is for it to be in person. I see it so vividly, and photographer fit check is just a fun, cute little thing I do where I talk about the fit I'm wearing to set.
mhm.
And so, us being on set virtually right now, you can just shout out one thing you're wearing. You don't gotta get up and show the whole fit or anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If I usually am honestly wearing a jumpsuit. I'm
Oh, and
always
you
wearing a
be
jumpsuit.
flea. And you be flea.
I always, because I'm very simple on my color palette. My three go-to colors: red, black, and green.
Mm.
And I specifically always love wearing my army green, like a utility jumpsuit. I like, and I'll put on some chucks or I put on some ones.
I love a
And
chuck.
if I'm feeling like let me put on some makeup, I'll probably put on a red lip and just some gold hoops or something. But
Yes. I feel like there
like
was a deep era where you were wearing that red lip every day and it's perfect. Like you found your
was
perfect red.
thank NARS, thank God for NARS. Yeah, I actually probably have it on my TikTok. Like I would wear a ponytail, my glasses, my red lip,
Yes.
my army green jumpsuit. But yeah, I am excited to pivot into other looks, but I'm always wearing a cargo pant. And I also like, I have to have pants because I'm probably putting my trigger. I even will put my lens in my Y3 cargos, like
I know
just because
that's
I'm,
right.
yeah.
If it's
So the
sturdy
pockets
enough, why
galore.
not?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
Beautiful.
usually what I'm wearing. That's usually what I'm wearing, especially on set.
Well, today I'm gonna shout out this Supervision trucker hat. I just think it's cute and I like the color palette. Um,
No, I love that's what I was like. The neon is giving.
I'm
I
really,
wish I
I'm
had more
fucking with
confidence.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had more confidence to wear colors. Like I'm very
Girl,
much more
I'm
like,
gonna need you to get it some color too, cause if y'all don't know, body tea. Come on.
I don't wear color. I'm so scared. Like I'm the true artist where I'm like, you will always see me in black. Like I remember one
Yeah.
era I was Steve Jobs. My next era I was acting like I was Nina Mosley from Love Jones, but like I'm just
Yes.
wearing literally black.
I appreciate a uniform though. I love, in
Yeah.
particular, a woman too that has just a classic uniform. Like a friend of mine, she always has a black shirt and a blue denim. The type of blue
Mm.
changes, the type of shirt changes, but it's always black and blue. And I'm like, it adds to the aura. It adds to something.
I
I like it.
I did that for a very long time because I was obsessed with like the Parisian styling dress code because it's like
Mm.
it's like a capsule closet. And honestly, living with
Oh,
a man, like they don't have a lot of clothes lying around. I don't have a lot of clothes either. Like because me and my partner share a closet, so his side, my side, and
yeah.
mine's is not full. Like my closet is like this small. I need to look in there and just be like, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm
make it
very big on a
simple.
uniform. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Well,
Yeah,
beautiful.
but I do want
Well,
to add color. But yeah, I'm
oh,
very big on a
yes.
uniform.
We gonna get you in some color in 2025. Colorful girls.
Yeah, I do need to. I need to travel. When I travel, I'm in color.
And
When I
that
travel,
makes
I'm in
sense.
color. Yeah,
Okay.
like I remember when I went to Rio. That was the most color I ever wore in my life.
Oh, that's at the
But
top
yeah,
of the list. I would love to go to Brazil.
Brazil's the perfect place to shoot. Like, it's absolutely perfect. It's
Which shout
perfect.
out to Cam for that. I keep telling him like
No,
Next
Cam,
time, put me
I
on
think
your
he got his
tab.
visa now. Is he a citizen?
He's damn near a citizen now.
He has to be. Like, Cam is serious. Like, I'm slacking on my Duolingo Portuguese, but I'm on my French
Okay,
Duolingo
come
every
on.
day. Just in case if I need to buy a one-way ticket, I got it together.
Gone, exactly. I can get through the border at very least.
Exactly.
But yes, thank you so much, Maya. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking to
you.
us today and dropping some gems. I'm dead ass. I feel like you need to come back soon already, so we can figure that out.
Yeah, no, if we need to talk more about the numbers,
Yeah,
just being your own agent, if you don't have one, it's like I've
right.
had to learn so many ways to pivot, so I will gladly share.
Beautiful. Well, thank you
Yeah.
again. Please
Thank
tell the
you.
folks where you would like to be found.
I am my Iman on everything. My website, my Instagram. I'm honest. Also, shout out to LinkedIn. I need y'all to really start sharing your work and being on LinkedIn. I'm very transparent and sharing my work about and talking just about the industry as much as I can on LinkedIn. So it's my
Yeah.
Iman everywhere. Yeah, so it's mostly Instagram, LinkedIn. I'll be on Twitter a little bit, but
Yeah.
but yeah. That's all I gotta say.
Beautiful. Well, you can follow us at Photographer Life Check on everything. Please rate us 5 stars on the things, leave us
Follow.
comments, follow us everywhere. And if you have any suggestions, you can hit us at photographerlifecheck@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Art House, the first Black-owned film lab in the city of Los Angeles. All my photography homies love Art House because they specialize in C41, black and white, E6, and ECN2 processing for both 35mm and medium format film, all while using a custom-built cinema scanner to get you those stunning movie quality stills. So go pick up and drop off a roll at their new location in Chinatown and check them out at arthousefilmlab.com or Art House Film Lab on IG and tell them we sent you.